Hi writers, I'm Linda Writes for Kids, and today we're going to talk about the difference between the traditional publishing market and the self-publishing market. So, hold on to your hats, we're about to get started. Okay, so when I talk about the traditional publishing market, I mean all of those big publishers that we've all heard of that you see their books in bookstores. Those are the traditional publishing market. The self-publishing market has been around for a long time, and it has had a bit of a negative connotation to it in the past. In fact, it used to be called vanity publishing. Today, it has a much better connotation to it. But there are still some prejudices against it, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But first of all, just defining the difference. So in the traditional market, authors pitch and sell their books to the publisher. That means that you query, you submit. If an editor likes what you've done, they offer you a contract, you sign it, and you've got a book deal. From there, the publisher takes over as editor. They hire and pay for the illustrator and any illustrations that will be in the book. They have someone create the cover. They do the cover design. They will lay out the book. They will send it to the printer. They will work up the blurbs that go out into the media or on Amazon that talk about what this book is. And they sell the book and they do all of the marketing. I shouldn't say they do all of the marketing. Authors are expected to do some marketing too, and we do that by telling people on social media, people that we know. We might do author visits to libraries and schools. That's all marketing. We might do a book launch. All of that is marketing, but it is on a smaller scale because we're humans, we're not corporations, and our reach tends to be smaller. So we are expected to market, but a lot of marketing happens at the publishing house. So one of the big differences between traditional publishing and self-publishing is that a publisher in the traditional market will absorb all the financial risk in producing this book. They also will pay the illustrators and the authors, but they obviously have to keep some of that money to themselves. Otherwise, they will go out of business. So they absorb all of the financial risk and they keep a good amount of the profit. On the other hand, with self-publishing, here the author decides this will become a book, and they take over all the responsibilities of that a traditional publisher would take over. So they are responsible for their editing. They are responsible for hiring and paying for illustrations and cover design. They have to pay for the printing. They have to sell the book and do all of the marketing single-handedly. And on the upside, they get to keep all of their profits. They might have a deal with an illustrator where they're going to pay a percentage to the illustrator. Fair enough, but overall, they have taken all the responsibility financially, and so they are going to also be the big winner in keeping any profits. So that's a basic overview of the differences between traditional publishing and self-publishing. Now, I mentioned earlier that self-publishing used to have really kind of a bad name. They even called it vanity publishing because it was thought that, oh, you can't publish your book, no editor will buy that book, it's just not good enough. So because you just want to see your name on a book cover, you're going to pay all this money for vanity publishing so you can see it. Well, you know what, I'll be honest with you, things have changed. Today there are so many options for people for publishing, whether it is on YouTube, whether it is on Kindle, whether it is in paper form, hardcover or paperback. It's become easier and easier for people to self-publish in our world. And that has opened up this whole market of self-publishing. And I think that people need to realize that there is legitimacy in self-publishing. It's not all vanity. It's that maybe you have a book that is a niche, has such a niche that a big publisher really can't afford to put that into their marketing plan and market to that niche. It could be that it's just something that you want to have complete control over. You want to decide what that cover looks like. You want to decide who the illustrators are. So it's become a really different game with self-publishing. And in fact, I prefer the term indie publishing. You're an independent publisher. And in today's world, there is no reason not to be if that's the route that you choose to go. So either is a really viable and legitimate option in publishing today. I will say this, it is hard to market books all on your own. It's hard enough for people to market their books that don't have big marketing dollars behind them with their traditional publishers. But when you are out there completely on your own, it's really tough. So I think that you really need to think about how much you're going to spend if you're an indie publisher, how much it's going to cost you, how much it will take for you to get that money back, and how hard you're willing to work to get it out there. But if you decide that that is for you, it is a completely legitimate path to take. So more power to you and the best of luck. I have stayed in the traditional market because that's what works for me. But like I said, both are legitimate choices in today's self-publishing world, and where media has taken us, that has given us all these options. So that is an overview of the traditional versus the self-publishing or indie publishing markets, kind of the differences in how those things go. I sure am glad to have you here with me today. Please give me a thumbs up if this is helpful, if this has explained anything to you. And please hit the subscribe button and the bell. That will notify you when I have uploaded more content for you. Leave me comments if you would, so that I can get to know what you would like to hear me talk about, what you would like me to share from my experiences, and I hope to connect with you there. So that's what I've got for now, the traditional versus the self-publishing markets. I hope to see you soon, and until then, happy writing.